Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P. Joe P's up here with me, as always, every Monday night is Scott Bogman, and it's you. And we're talking Monday Night Football after a very normal Sunday in the NFL, as I spoke about earlier on the pod. You know, just your normal Sunday where the Lions beat Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins became a rapper at some point on an airplane. You know, just regular stuff
You
happening
like
in the
that.
NFL.
You
You like
like
that?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you do. Young Cuzzy. That's what I'm calling
Oh,
him. That's his new nickname.
man, that's
It's either
awful.
Lil Cuzzy or Young Cuzzy. I haven't figured out which one it is
I
yet.
think I
But
like Lil Cuzzy better, but
you think so? I think it's
yeah,
pretty
I
good.
think
But
so.
look, in a time where we're going to actually go ahead and get another home underdog here, let's go. Because tonight, Monday Night Football, we've got another great contest on for you. We've got the New Orleans Saints +2 at home against the Baltimore Ravens, who are falling apart at the seams in terms of injuries here. 46.5 is the number. I'm setting the stage. New Orleans, if you like them to win outright, is +110. To me, that's where you go. A little bit of confidence after shutting out the Raiders last week. My faith in the Baltimore Ravens is a little shook right now, as the kids like to say. And no cap, I feel a little like maybe the Ravens might have a struggle here in this contest. So, Boggs, let's
Dead
kick things
ass.
off here. Your thoughts on Baltimore and New Orleans here at first glass, 3-5 versus 5-3.
Yeah, look, I want to take the Ravens. I do think they're the better overall team than the Saints moving forward, but you're down Mark Andrews, you're down Gus Edwards, you're down Rashad Bateman. You know, I love Devin Duvernay, but I don't know that he's a guy that can take over and do it all by himself. It's going to have to be just an enormous effort from Lamar Jackson. So could we get that? 100%. Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. But my favorite bet here is taking the under because the New Orleans defense played so well, because Baltimore is adding Roquan Smith, which is going to be a dynamic presence to the middle of this defense for sure. And this offense for Baltimore is so under weaponized. Like they got nobody outside of Lamar.
And the one thing you can do, like the one thing is the corners aren't great. They're really good, New Orleans, against tight ends, though. So now you're down to your backup tight end and Isaiah Likely. So unless you start, flexing him out there to the slot a little bit more, using it more creative ways, it's kind of
I think
hard to
Demario
utilize
Davis is the #2 coverage linebacker in the league.
Yeah, and that's the problem right now.
Yeah.
It's like whatever's left is really possibly not enough. And you're right. Lamar absolutely always has that ability to take over a game. We all know that. My favorite wager here of all these three is New Orleans on the money line +110. Give me the plus money. Let's go. And I feel
both
like
these defenses that can be had, which is it makes
Yeah.
it difficult to bet the total. I just like the under, not because I think the defenses are overwhelming. Both of these teams have problems in the secondary. It's the corners on both sides, but I just don't know if we have enough offense to take advantage. Remember, it's Andy Dalton is still the quarterback for the Saints, right? So I'm not getting super excited about Andy Dalton, and Lamar doesn't have anybody to throw the ball to. So it's just difficult to see it.
We're down to Kenyon Drake now too. That's
Drake
the thing.
can bow up and have some decent games.
He can. And we're going to talk about him, and we're going to talk about some of the other guys in the prop market in a second here. But I'm telling you right now, we're talking about, primetime game, New Orleans at home. I think New Orleans sees that it can get back into this race here, but there's sort of a pressure situation here on New Orleans. Like they are in must-win mode now.
Division is winnable.
They were last week. The division is winnable. Tampa certainly barely got by. But I'm telling right now, like I feel like the momentum is here on that side. And I don't think Baltimore feels the same pressure. I think they feel like, look, we're in a bad spot here. Let's just try to do what we can and then get back and make sure we're targeting these games. We have 2 games against the Steelers left. We have some other games. I think they look at this out of conference game as a situation where, like, look, this is not nearly as important. Let's rest all our guys. Let's go get healthy and somewhere else. And I think that matters. And I think on the New Orleans side, I'm telling you, New Orleans on the money line is where I'm going on this one tonight. Now, let's also talk about some of these injuries because there is a crap ton and that's the official word, by the way. So Mark Ingram is going to be out. We're going to have Adam Troutman was limited. So we're going to see if we're going to get him. Jarvis Landry, we're still waiting on news from him. Marshawn Lattimore, you're not going to see in this game. Michael Thomas, who knows if you're ever going to see him again.
Yeah.
No, always out for the year, but ever going to see Michael Thomas? I don't know.
I'm sure he'll go to Atlanta or somewhere else,
Well, isn't it interesting? I said this on a couple shows today too. Isn't it interesting that that Kadarius Toney's hamstring just miraculously healed in those 2 weeks when he got traded to KC. I mean, that's really lucky.
Yeah, I mean,
Super,
what a
super
fortunate
lucky.
coincidence, you
I know,
know,
right?
nothing fishy going on behind the scenes at all there. So
Nah,
that's good.
nah. All right, on the other side of this game, again, that's where a lot of these big injuries. So, Mark Andrews downgraded to out for week 9, so he is done. Gus Edwards officially doubtful; he's not going to play. Demarcus Robinson, obviously,
Questionable.
did not participate on practice on Saturday. He's not looking good. Now Roquan Smith is going to play, so that's great. You know, you're getting a big piece of the defense. Deshaun Jackson, who knows what his role is going to be? Rashad Bateman's out for the season, so Baltimore really limping into this game in every way. And I understand the Lamar Jackson factor is a real thing, Boggs. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, this feels like this is all lining up for New Orleans to handle their business. They handled it last week. I think there's a chance for them to take another AFC team and handle it 2 weeks in a row. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could definitely happen either way, which is why I don't really want to mess with the line. You know, like you said, if I'm taking something, I'll pick a team and take the money line, right? You know, because if I think New Orleans can beat the 2.5 or whatever the line has moved to now, is it still 2.5? Is that where we're at?
Yes. Well, it depends on where you are looking. I will pull that up in 1 second, but go
I
ahead.
think
Continue on to
MGM is
talk about
2.5, right? So
MGM is 2.5. Yep.
so you know, that's what I use most of the time.
Actually, and now the consensus actually just since we started the show has moved to plus 1.5. So everyone's listening to me and they're all betting
That's
on the
right.
Saints.
That's right.
My God.
Exactly.
I'm the needle
What an
mover. Forget Roman
influencer.
Reigns.
That's right.
I'm
Yeah.
that's right. Influencer.
The biggest influencer in the market for sure is Joe P. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, just take them straight up on the money line. If you think they could beat that 1.5 or 2.5 points, take them straight up. You got them winning the game in most scenarios. So I think that's what I take, but I don't like it. That's why I said I'll stick with the under on this total, because I think if what does it look like if Baltimore goes off? I don't think it looks like Justin Fields yesterday. I don't think we're expecting Lamar to
Nothing
run
can look like Justin Fields yesterday.
for 100. Nothing
crap.
ever has before in the history of football. So I don't think we're going to see another 178-yard.
Well, Michael Vick had some moments that were close.
He had 173 was his record. Fields broke it.
Right, he was the guy. Yeah,
so
by 1, right?
By 5. But yeah,
by 5.
I mean,
right, that's what
but I mean, whatever. You know, you're right in the same range there. So I that's why I want to bet the total. I just and once again, I understand you just mentioned Lattimore down, Peters looking like he's down, or at least not 100%. So there is some opportunity for some of these players to, play much better than expected because of the secondary issues. I just don't know if these are the quarterbacks to get it done. Andy on the Andy Dalton side, not the quarterback to get it done, and on Lamar's side, it's going to have to be Devin Duvernay and the corpse of Deshaun Jackson out there doing it. So I just don't know if those guys can get it done. You also have Demarcus Robinson less than 100% and a backup tight end. Like, where are the weapons?
I mean, Deshaun Jackson as a likely. I mean, look, stranger things have happened. It's the NFL. The Jets beat the Bills. So, like, anything's really possible. However, this is fascinating. Before we get to the props that you like, your favorite ones, and we're going to do some of the other ones too. Over bettingpros.com, you got the prop bet cheat sheet that's out there, which is a fantastic tool with the projections on there and where to bet them. Here's a funny parlay on FanDuel, the most popular one here. And again, this is how your money burns up into flames when you do things like this. Baltimore Ravens on the money line to win outright. So number 1, I hate it. Number 2, over 46.5. Also another thing I'm not a big fan of.
Right.
Then the other 2 parts seem like really good investments. Lamar Jackson, anytime touchdown scorer. I can get in on that. And Alvin Kamara, anytime touchdown scorer. Okay. Both of those things are decent. If you take those 2 things and then you go with the other 2 things, the opposites of the other 2, if you take the under and you take the New Orleans Saints, that might be a decent one. But I'm telling you right now, pick one of those 2 things, not both. I would just pick New Orleans and then put it with Lamar. And you're not going to get this, and put it with Kamara. You're not going to get the same big time number, but you can bet it a little bigger and a smaller number, and you'll end up winning on money. You'll actually end up winning money if you do that. So that's the approach tonight if you want to do the parlay. Otherwise, if you take this one on FanDuel, you're going to light your money on fire tonight. So don't do that. Let's get to some of the ones that Boggs has so lovely cherry picked for us. Andy Dalton, 1.5 passing touchdowns, plus 105. You've got the over. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's probably my least favorite of the ones I picked, and definitely the last one I selected of these props. But we mentioned it. the secondary in Baltimore is rough. So when you get down there, near the goal line, let's just hope they have a couple goal line or red zone attempts here for the Saints, and this whole game doesn't spend the entirety at midfield, which seems like it might be somewhere in that neighborhood. But I think the secondary can be had in terms of touchdowns. So when you get down there, I think all the focus is going to be on Kamara. And, I think, Juwan Johnson could be a nice target. Olave could be a nice target. And even, a play action and then throw it back to Kamara could be a decent option. We got a lot of, little tricky plays with Taysom down there as well. So I just think the secondary can be had. So I think Andy Dalton can throw 2.
I think what's fun too, you look at anytime touchdowns over FanDuel, you got Taysom Hill plus 175. You got Troutman at plus 390, but Juwan Johnson at plus 392. Some good money on some of these if you want to fade the top of the board and the obvious Kamara, Drake guys, and even Olave's at plus 145. You're getting more than 3-1 on some of those. Let's go to the next thing you've got here. Devin Duvernay, 42.5 receiving yards, minus 115. That seems quite reasonable to me. I'm on board with this one as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's the number one target tonight, I think, for Lamar because of the bad matchup that likely is most likely going to have with Demario Davis on him. So I think that, what you want to do here too to avoid because it's good safeties in New Orleans, specifically in coverage of Marcus May and Tyrann Mathieu. So you want to dink and dunk this defense, and you want to, you want to line him up in the slot. You want him against Paulson and Debo on the outside because Debo grades he's like a 26. I think he's like 110 out of 112 ranked corners in terms of PFF grades and stuff like that. So, and I believe he's given up the 7th most receiving yards out of all defenders in the NFL. So that's a good matchup for him. I think they're going to line him up against a Debo and get him some yards. So I think you could take the over not only on this, but probably on his receptions, which I believe is 3.5 as well. So I'm a big Duvernay fan tonight. Hook him. Let's go, Devin.
By the way, I saw your Texas Longhorns brought in another top 10 prospect over the weekend too. That's very exciting for you.
That's right. Of course, they got a big basketball guy too. So yeah, of course. Anytime we get a big prospect, and it's a enormous game this week against TCU, number 4 ranked.
TCU has been incredibly entertaining.
That's right.
That's been the entertaining one of the year.
It's going to be entertaining to watch them go down. So,
oh wow, look at you, all the confidence. All right, let's go to the next one on the board here. You've got Juwan Johnson anytime touchdown plus 290. You got it plus 290. That's a consensus
MGM
line.
was plus 290. I think DK was plus 390, like you said, right?
I was gonna say FanDuel's at plus 390 on this one. So if you
get
like
it,
run to FanDuel.
Get it there. DK, I think, is plus 390 as well. Like I said, the other night he had 2 against the Cardinals on Thursday night. So I think that's a decent call. They like him down there. And it's, look, I love Roquan, but in terms of coverage, he ranks fairly low. Let's see, what is his coverage rank would be 71 out of 78 linebackers, and Patrick Queen's would be 47th out of 78 linebackers. So not good coverage over the middle if you are going to go to that tight end. And we know they've had cornerback issues just in terms of injuries for Baltimore too. So let's get Juwan Johnson in that end zone. One of those 2 touchdowns from Andy Dalton is going to go to Juwan. That's what I say.
I like that one too. I love the chat too. We got a lot of fun people. I see Josh, I see John, I see Big Ben. Big Ben, I don't know if I can put this on, but I'm going to. So here we go. Everyone has a boner for likely this game, so I'm fading it. Big Ben,
yeah,
100% right. I mean, and they are. What are they not the number 1 team against the tight end this year?
The logic adds up. They might be. I would not.
I believe they're number 1. I believe Derek told me that today earlier.
Hey, look,
on
if
Sunday,
Mark Andrews is out there, Mark Andrews over any linebacker, I don't care. But
and look, and that's always
Andrews.
something we preach, right? Elite talent is elite talent. Like if you're putting Justin Jefferson, I don't care what corner it is. You're not fading away from Justin Jefferson.
Right.
If you want to play unders, that's fine. But like people make big mistakes in the fantasy community when they think too much about these kind of things. But when you're dealing with backups or rookies,
too much tinkering.
Too much. Yeah. All right, let's go to the defensive side because we love to do that. Geno Stone over 4.5 tackles, minus 140. You're going over on that bad boy.
I mean, there's a reason why the juice is so bad, right? Minus 140. It's not great. And I'll tell you, but this tackle total looks low for Geno, especially a guy that's getting 100% of the snaps as of recently. But I'll tell you why it's low. It's because of Roquan. Roquan coming in here, and the dude is a absolute tackle vacuum. He is where players go to die in terms of their forward progress. So Roquan will get a lot of tackles, but I'm going to bank on him not playing 100% of the snaps in his first game. Maybe he will. I just can't imagine that. So I think he'll get less than that. But even if he does, I think Geno can still go out there and get 5. So between tackles and assists, that's a 2 and 3, 3 and 2, however you want to flip it, 1 and 4 assists. I think he'll get there. So I love that total for him. I think it's too low.
Speaking of defense, before the show, I was looking at defensive player of the year, and I locked in my Micah Parsons shares way back in the day. But me, can't ever stop looking, so a lot of hedge. I see Matthew Judon's at 14-1. The minute any pulled hamstring or something happens to Micah Parsons, again, because Micah Parsons is a Cowboy and it's a big fanfare and the whole deal, and he's good television. Matthew Judon, not quite the household name, not quite the same kind of thing. But I'll tell you what, if there's any Micah Parsons injury, that is immediately I am running to FanDuel, running to MGM, and I'm going to put money on Matthew Judon because
where is
high up on that sack total.
Because coming back next week is the reigning defensive player of the year. What is TJ Watt's number right now? Because if the Steelers are 2-6 with only one game with Watt, and then they finish 8-9 or 9-8, something like that with TJ Watt, and it's because he's just wreaking havoc. He could be, and he shouldn't win it this year. It should be somebody else because he missed too much time.
He shouldn't win it. I don't think he has a chance to win it. But again, barring injury, and injuries do happen. You've also got Max Crosby at 30-1, who's fast. But Judon at plus 1,400 after this past one was really high up there. The problem is, I don't see Bosa or Myles Garrett. They're ahead of Judon right now, but not in my mind. And it's not because I'm a Pats fan. I could care less. This is about money. This isn't about anything else. Do you want to take a guess at what Watt is? See if I can find him on here. Or maybe he's not even on the board because
he probably isn't even on the board.
He's not on the board. Oh, boo! I'll tell you, the minute he comes back, I'd put him at.
He gets 3 sacks in his first game back next week against a good offensive line in New Orleans. He'll be right back on that board. So,
I would say, because I'm looking at who's ahead. I would say you could put him at the 30-1 mark. I think you could put him right where Max Crosby is. I think that's fair.
I think that's
because of the name brand recognition. All right, let's move on with the last one here, which I absolutely love. Justin Tucker, 1.5 field goals, the over at minus 140.
I mean, look, I haven't been hitting my best stride on these Monday night games yet, so I just want to win money. And this one isn't the best juice, right? I believe it is plus or minus 140.
It's minus 140.
Whatever. But
you put this with the narrative of the Saints winning.
If you get 2 attempts, he wins it. That's all there is to it. It doesn't matter if they're from 60, if they're from 80, if they're from 1,000 yards. Justin Tucker is making those field goals, right?
Yes.
I think he has 1 miss this season. So if he gets 2 attempts,
indoors too. It's not like you're kicking in the weather. It's easy money. But because the juice is so much, this is what you do, everybody. You take that and you put it with the Saints to win outright, and you're playing the same story. Well, no, because you're playing the same story in the narrative, aren't you?
I think this one that is so automatic,
which is they stop the Baltimore attack, or the Baltimore attack just can't get things going. They get close, but not close enough. They can't convert because they don't have the pieces on the field. They settle for 3s instead of 6s. You're making the story, and I think that's a pretty good story. I love a good story. I'm a sucker for a good story.
Yeah, samesies, Joey. Samesies. So absolutely. And I just, once again, I might, instead of even parlaying, I just double my units that I put on it to get that payout. Because like I said, if he gets 2 attempts, he's hitting them both. So,
100%.
And
I think he'll get 2 attempts.
Best kicker in the history of the NFL is Justin Tucker. So 2 attempts and you win this bet. It's probably the most lockable one out of all of the bets that I've taken this season. The juice sucks, but whatever. Who cares?
If you have one big kick to make, who do you want making it in this end of the Super Bowl? You want Adam Vinatieri or Justin Tucker?
I want Tucker. Look, Vinatieri has done it a million times.
That's the only thing about Tucker.
Yeah,
to
but
see him make some bigger ones in some big spots.
the only reason Tucker hasn't is because he hasn't been put in the position to do it. So
that's what they all say.
If he was put in position, he would nail it. He ain't Scott Norwood. So,
well, who is? All right. Don't forget, everybody, make sure you subscribe to Betting Pros YouTube channel. Click that little bell for notifications till it goes ding, so you know exactly when a great piece of content drops here, like these live streams. We'll be back again on Thursday to do more. Bogman's got the CFB going. I'll always go to bettingpros.com. Check out the prop bet cheat sheet and all the great info, articles, and more over at Betting Pros as well. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Bogman, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Enjoy the Monday Night Football.